So it's just for you and me. This is week 9 or something you said?
Oh, yeah. Right. This is like week 9.
Yeah.
We've been doing this 9 weeks. This is either 9 or 10. No, 9 because we were in Boston. So 9.
9.
So the first official.
This is the first official uploaded, recorded as a podcast or podcast if you're listening, but show.
Yes.
We're trying to make it a show. The United Front show.
I love that
United
name,
Front
by the way.
podcast. It depends on how you want to talk about it. All the same. We got some good stuff this week. Republicans are in shambles. Kamala, I don't know about her, but maybe some Democrats need to work on messaging and strategy a little bit. They need some younger advisors up there.
Interesting.
And we got some good local stuff politically too to go over.
Yeah, we actually walk the walk.
Yeah, we walk the walk. So we're going to talk about that.
We haven't talk about this.
Yeah, before we dive all the way in, I got to do the YouTuber thing. Got to do the like and subscribe. Follow us on the socials. Twitter, specifically, for me. Because that's, obviously, this is right now weekly.
That's where you do most of your ranting?
That's where I most of my complaining is on Twitter.
Got it. Is it like, what kind of complaining are we talking about on Twitter? Are we talking about pretty, like, genteel, kind of loving, like love notes to both parties kind of a situation? Or are we talking about...
It's more of like a gentle protest for the Democrats, and I'm wielding a pitchfork and a torch.
Oh.
Ready to bring the Republican Party to the hangman or something, or whatever, you know?
Got it. So, is there any... Yeah.
There's a bias.
There's a bias.
Yeah.
Not recommended for children.
No. Preferably not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can just go and get started in this thing.
Yeah.
Topic 1. Let me pull up my links real quick. So I have those up. This actually happened 2 years ago.
Something happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it was only released recently.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm sure people have seen it. I have the Guardian article pulled up. A lady by the name of Amber Thurman died as a result of Georgia's abortion bans that were enacted in 2022. Right after
the laws were enacted in 2022, this abortion ban, and this lady Amber died as a result
of these bans. Yeah.
She died in 2022. Okay.
This was released. This basically was like sealed up. I'll touch on it on the article, but it was just sealed up completely until ProPublica poked.
Oh, interesting.
And they got answers. This is the only reason this has been released.
Okay.
So, there's more cases of these, but the state hasn't really disclosed it very much. They just brush it under the rug.
This is Georgia specifically.
It's Georgia specifically. So I imagine it's a national issue. So Amber Thurman was a 28-year-old mother with a young son. She was becoming a nurse. And she died. So
How did she die?
She found out she was pregnant with twins.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think she was any more than the 5 or 6 weeks like you're supposed to be. Right? This is when the ban was already in place, obviously. So she couldn't have been. So I believe, I think she ended up driving. I can't say this for certain. Yeah. So she ended up driving up to North Carolina, where there's different rules for abortions, and she took the abortion pill, meaning that this was a very early pregnancy.
Right.
You don't abortion pill 8 months.
Yeah.
Not how that works.
Right.
So very, very early on.
Yeah.
And all goes well. As she can see, she drives back to Georgia. No big deal. Issue, all of the fetal tissue or whatever you want to call it didn't come out of her.
Okay. So she aborted the twins.
80% or whatever
mostly,
of all of the cells
but
and
she
stuff.
still retained
Some of it.
She
didn't know this.
Okay.
And obviously an infection started.
Okay, yes.
Obviously. So all the signs of infection. So she goes to the doctor, the ER. Bleeding, pain, and falling blood pressure. Right?
She's going septic.
Obviously, she's going septic. So a DNC, so a dilation and curettage. I was waiting for that. Could have been performed, and apparently it's pretty simple, relatively simple.
Yes.
So the problem, Georgia's abortion ban allows for a DNC to be performed, so long as it is a spontaneous or naturally occurring miscarriage.
Oh. But you cannot perform it if it is not a naturally occurring miscarriage.
So this being a not naturally occurring, they could not perform a DNC on her.
Holy cow.
So by the time she gets to the hospital...
That's insane.
She laid in the hospital bed for 20 hours.
Okay, well, that's...
At this point, she's already septic.
Sick. Very sick.
At this point, she's already has... She died of acute something sepsis. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
But so when she got to the hospital, it was already like, we have to do this now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we can wait.
Yeah. It was an emergency.
Yeah. By 20 hours, she began to experience organ failure. Then they said they were willing to treat her.
Once it became organ failure.
Organ failure. Obviously, way too late.
Yes.
So she dies.
Wow. And so this was covered up back in 2022.
Covered up. So we're going to get into that. This is probably the nastier part. So the State Maternal Mortality Review Board said that her death was 100% preventable. Had she gone to the hospital and they done it there, she would have lived.
Yeah.
Or a really, really good chance of living.
For sure.
So the problem is the state did not tell her family that her death was preventable. Okay. They just said she died.
Okay.
And then kind of left it. The only reason the family knows it was preventable in any fashion, or really anything at all about it, is because a ProPublica reporter told them.
Just recently or back then?
This came out, this article dropped the 19th. Oh, wow. So it couldn't have been that long ago.
2 days ago.
So because Georgia has these terrible laws that don't benefit anybody, just about controlling women.
Wow.
Somebody has died.
Yeah.
I guarantee there are more cases than this one.
Yeah, for
there
sure.
Has to be.
For sure.
But it's the fact that Georgia, obviously they know what's going to happen. And then they're quiet when it does happen. So it's not like we didn't know this was going to happen. It's like we know it's going to happen and we don't care that it's going to happen.
Would you say that it even feels like sort of almost actively hiding it kind of a situation?
I would say it's a part of their plan. It's like, to them, the system's working how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, so somehow the state health department, which kind of might be looking into all of this, also ACA, that kind of manages hospitals and what's going on there. There's
the
all
state's
kinds of...
keeping it quiet, and it's a felony to perform a DNC.
So the doctors would have been charged with a felony had they done it.
Mm-hmm.
Had somebody found out about it.
Had somebody found out about it. True. So that is the state of half of this country.
Man, yeah, there's a lot of states that
have
an abortion ban, something similar.
Georgia's abortion ban isn't even a 6-week ban. Abortion is illegal in Georgia after the detection of embryonic cardiac cell activity. Which,
once you test positive.
Thank you. So for layman terms, when you test positive,
you can't get an abortion other than if, I never did the test.
Yeah. So most women don't even know they're pregnant until after 6 weeks, well after.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like you miss one period, and that is a thing that happens to women. That's not like an uncommon experience.
Absolutely.
It's the back-to-back missed ones.
Right.
Where it's like,
or you're like, boy, I'm way late.
I'm way late, and man, I've been feeling kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's something's odd.
Yep.
It's worth checking.
Yep.
But for women who have a history of their periods are irregular, or maybe they've missed one before, nothing came of it, they don't instantly freak out about it.
Right.
And in that case, you're 8-9 weeks and you're like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. If you're past like a 6-week thing.
Yeah. So that's like the point. That's like the problem. So yeah.
I wonder if there's we don't have to look it up now, but we have Amendment 4 is on the ballot for us.
Our Amendment 4 is on the ballot.
Florida, which is protect a woman's reproductive rights. And so that would be, the people making a decision through a vote. So Georgia may probably, I'm sure they're working on getting something like that on the ballot, if it's not already kind of like planned to be on the ballot. I feel like the stricter the measure in a state that's
voted blue, so it's a conservative state, but it's not.
It's on the edge, right?
It's not like an Oklahoma or a West Virginia.
And usually these things go pretty heavily
across the nation. Abortion rights have been reinforced.
Yes,
by
the people
in red states by the people.
Yeah. So that's hopefully that kind of thing will happen in Georgia, and hopefully it'll happen here in Florida too.
It's on our ballot.
Yeah.
I really hope that it is a thing.
I wonder how that's polling. I'm gonna have to look that up too.
I just peeked. One thing said it's like 50-50.
It's gonna be close.
It'll be tight.
I think in order for a measure like that to pass, it has to pass 60% of the population.
Yeah.
It has to vote for it. So
a referendum, yeah.
It would have to be pretty strongly in favor. So we'll see.
I really hope, but it's pretty despicable, I think.
Yeah,
because my thoughts on abortion is pretty simple. That anybody who's not, I can't say anybody, but anybody who means anything online, really, anybody who speaks about this or makes the rules, it's not about life. It's about controlling women.
Sure.
Because if it was about life, then you would make it something about, let's say, giving birth was not $15,000.
Sure. Maybe school lunches.
School lunches are free. School's free. Childcare is free. Better access to childcare.
Yeah. Right.
Better access to children's medicine and psychological help and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's not about that.
Yep. It feels like an issue. I don't know. It sort of feels like a manufactured issue. But it's so tied to religion.
So I'm going to make the argument that anybody who uses the religion argument, not all the time, but I'm going to say almost every time, doesn't think of it as a moral issue. There are some people who definitely do, but all of these politicians who are voting for this stuff, it isn't a moral issue. If they had a kid who got pregnant, they're getting an abortion.
Yeah.
They would 100%.
Yeah, of course.
All of them have probably.
Yeah.
So it's not a moral issue for them.
Yep.
It's a control. They just are sexist.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you chalk it up. Because if it was pro-life caring for children, then you would have, once the child's here, you'd continue to care for a child.
Women of childbearing age sort of overwhelmingly support the idea of abortion rights.
Yeah.
Reproductive rights.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's who we should be listening to, is the people that it affects the most. You've got, boomers that cannot have kids anymore. Why do they have a say?
Yeah.
In a family's decision to...
Boomers who don't realize that they were trapped in a terrible marriage that they hated, and they think that's normal. And it's like, no, we've progressed in the world. You don't have to be unhappy your entire life.
Yeah, I know.
I think... I don't like talking about whether it should be legal or illegal. I think it's pretty simple. I think most people don't like it.
Of course not.
Like, it's not a good feeling.
It's never.
But
good.
It's one of those things of you can't take it away.
Yes.
You can't remove that.
And I'm all for
from
doing
people.
Everything we can to encourage a woman to keep it if she can.
I would love for the opportunity to
adoption.
I would like to build a society where we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you don't make a law banning it.
Yeah, right.
I just think it's one of those things where there's no clean way to regulate it.
Yeah.
Or make a law about it.
Yep.
Maybe if you want to do something like once you hit the third trimester, like you've had some time. If you want to make that argument, like this is much more of a baby now in the womb, then I'll hear that.
I'll hear that. I mean,
you're getting like 6 months in. You're
no, that's way too long.
well,
Like I feel like a cutoff that would be some sort of a natural cutoff, which is kind of what we landed on with different laws. Is what's the earliest that a baby has been born and lived, and kind of like use that as a rough guide. That's like
tricky
18,
issue with that is we probably will continue to get better with that, and that date will continually get pushed back.
But probably not much. I don't know if you
don't think much.
Well,
I'm asking you, the doctor. You
can
tell me I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong.
So I help.
I would like to be wrong.
Okay, so I help to deliver a baby in med school. I'll tell you a story. It'll help you to kind of to visualize it. I help to deliver a baby in med school. I mean, obviously a bunch of them, but there's one that kind of stands out in my mind. I remember his name. His name was Charlie. Anyway, so he was 20. I think he was 24 weeks or 23 weeks.
Yeah,
gestation, something like that. So like super duper preemie, but we had to get this baby out for various reasons. With the baby and the mother. So a C-section, obviously. I was in the room. We delivered the baby, and I could hold the entire baby in the palm of my hand like this.
Just
like right.
Yeah, that's
the whole baby. I think the baby weighed 1 pound and some ounces.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to imagine. Like it was very hard to imagine that baby could possibly live.
Yeah.
So, but the baby did live. But it's amazing that something so small was developed enough to be able to live. So, okay. So that's like immediately in my mind, I'm like, okay, we can't do abortions after this date.
I'm
So if you roll the clock back though, just a few more weeks, and all of a sudden you've got something that's this big, and you roll it back a few more weeks and you got something that's a collection of cells. And so I think that's why we kind of like landed on like a 16 week or 14 week or 18 week or whatever. But there's some date, there's some number I feel like that might.
Yeah. I think my thought like this, like if you were getting into the later periods of your pregnancy, it's not like I haven't thought about it. I haven't done any soul searching or whatever you need to do about it to decide.
Yeah.
So you've been with us for a while.
Yeah. Like if you're 6 months in.
Yeah.
You've been living with it for 5 months.
You've spent some time with this.
Oh yes.
You can't just, you know what I mean? You've gotten to a point where you've made a decision.
No. Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a multiple part solution, but a ban is not the solution.
No, a ban is not the solution.
A ban is not the solution.
And I think, by the way, if there was ever any ban enacted in any state, then they should also enact at the same time state funded entirely your entire pregnancy.
Yeah, you
delivery,
get paid time off work,
all the way up until
paid maternity leave,
paid leave, the whole thing.
You know,
like if we're gonna force you to have this
post birth care is free.
Yes,
the birth is free.
The whole thing.
All of
it should go with every abortion ban.
Okay, if you want to make it,
if you care about people and babies and lives, if you care about that,
you pay for the whole thing.
Then you have to do that too. If you're going to force women, if you're going to force a 13-year-old or an 18-year-old in college, you're going to force them
her to term. Okay, fine.
To term,
but you're paying.
But they have no insurance.
Every dollar of it, every penny.
So the state will pay for every penny of it plus time off.
If a Republican looked me in the eye and said that's their opinion, I don't like it. I still don't like a ban.
I like it better than a ban only.
It's much better than a ban only, and at least there's an air of consistency.
At least the arguments vibe, right?
And I'm like, all right, if you're going to do it,
you do care about people.
I rapidly disagree with your fact that you're banning it, but if you're going to pay every single penny from when she gets tested to when that baby is adopted,
mm-hmm.
But you're gonna have to do her paid time off, maternity leave. That's included.
Absolutely.
She can't just lose income. You have to pay her income.
Absolutely.
If every penny's accounted for and you pay for it,
hey,
I mean,
at least it would be an argument that it's like
I wouldn't
people.
Instantly go, you're a demon.
Right.
I would go,
you've at least attempted to be
I think you're wrong
and empathetic.
I think you're wrong, but
yeah, there's no empathy in the idea of a ban, but there is an idea of empathy
at least
with
you're
an
making an
abortion
attempt
ban
to like,
plus the funding.
I recognize that we are caring about life and you're proving the caring for life, and I can
Yes.
give you credit for that.
Yeah, right.
So, but I saw this.
I think that's a hot take, though.
Tabitha was very upset about this.
Oh, I bet. I think
She told me about it and I read about it. She was very upset, as someone who's had a kid before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is
This is a hot take.
yeah, but this is what they want.
I think they're going to get trounced on ballots.
I
up
really
and down.
am praying
I'm praying they get
to
trounced.
the Lord above.
Vote
Yeah.
Kamala.
So yeah, vote Kamala, vote blue down the ballot.
Register to vote and get a friend who wasn't registered to vote to register.
Get a
with
friend to
you.
vote, and
That's
if they
it.
don't want to come, you blindfold them. Sign this document. I swear it's just for your signature. Oops.
Mail it in.
Yep, you're voted. You
By the
know,
way, we don't endorse
cheat vote. Send in 15
voter
mail-in
fraud.
votes.
We don't endorse
Wear
that.
different disguises.
On the
Vote for your dead neighbors. Whatever you got to do. I'm kidding.
United.
Don't break the law.
Uh,
Don't break the law. You got something?
I was just going to ask, was it United or Unified?
United Front.
United.
United.
Okay.
So I have a little game.
Well, I was going to say.
Oh.
No. I mean, I was going to say that was heavy.
Yeah. So let's.
That was like heavy duty. It's
So-
probably one of the hardest
Yeah.
topics to talk about. in a
People will
political
cry
way.
talking about it.
And I need an emotional break from that. Can you offer me a respite?
A game?
A game would be lovely right about
I don't.
now.
Well, we'll see how much it makes you feel better,
Okay, good.
right? But we might be making fun of somebody, and that might make you feel good.
So is this a game, or is there maybe another word for it? Or are we calling it a game?
I'm tricking you.
Because you're the host, you can call
Yeah,
it
it's a
whatever you
game.
want
I
to.
just decided.
Perfect.
So I actually ripped this idea from a dumb Republican online.
All right. Well,
Very
let's-
famous, Steven Crowder. But
let's play Steven Crowder's game.
we'll move past. Pretty simple game. We're gonna play Who Said It.
Oh, a game of who said it?
Who said it?
All right.
Donald Trump,
Donald Trump.
Or- Adolf Hitler.
Okay. Got it. So
Who said it? So real quick, I have 5 quotes. I have all the quotes
Yes.
from them directly as they were. Naturally, I've had to reword them some.
Right. You can't include
So I've
the word
reworded them
Nazi
kind
or-
of ambiguous, because if I put in like Jewry or something, or like
Right.
Bolshevism, it's like, okay, well, I wonder who he's talking about.
Right.
I wonder who that is.
So everything has been
And if it's like, they're sending them
Adjusted.
from China, it's like, I wonder who we're talking about.
right.
So I've adjusted them, I've morphed them,
So
I've highlighted for me in red the words that have the IDing, or
Okay.
that would give it to you.
all right. Got it.
So I have 5, and I want you to just guess who said it.
Are you going to read all 5? Or are you going to tell me at the end?
We're going to go one by one, we're going to tally.
Okay.
We're going to tally, okay? I'm going to use this napkin because I don't have paper. Okay?
Okay.
So
I'm ready. Number 1.
here we go. Our nation is in danger. They are poisoning the blood of our nation. Who said it?
I feel like I think I heard Trump say that this week. So that actually
He might have.
yeah, no,
I don't know if I pulled any quotes from this week.
Okay, well, but I feel
Okay.
like I saw I feel like I literally, or I don't know, it might have been last week, but I feel like
You've heard that?
that was Trump, and I'll tell you what I feel.
Or
like.
was it Hitler?
Well,
Because it's a very...
yeah, there's also like a translation thing that occurs here because obviously Hitler
I-
wasn't speaking in English.
I have the ones that are Hitler and the ones that are
Okay.
Trump, I have worded in basically kind of my own way. You're not going to really be able to tell.
Okay, got
Like
it.
I've gotten rid of big words that Trump would never use.
All right. Well,
I've removed them. So they're pretty neutral.
what was it again? Poisoning the.
Our nation is in danger. They are poisoning the blood of our nation.
I don't know. Like I'm gonna go with Trump because I feel like I heard him say that exact thing. Although obviously that
You would be right. That is a Donald Trump quote.
yeah. It's.
The quote,
I mean, it could have gone either way for sure.
this is the quote from Trump. Nobody has ever seen anything like what we're witnessing right now. It's poisoning the blood of our nation.
Yeah.
So I've had to
That was
touch it.
that was yeah.
That is the quote from Donald Trump.
I actually heard him say that, not in person, but on a clip.
The ultimate goal must definitely be the removal of them altogether.
Yeah. Well,
So, I have changed one word. and you can't tell. I read it and I was like, you're kidding. Who said this?
I mean, that sounds like that would be probably, again, it's probably has
So,
more to do with the language.
what if
It
I
sounds-
said the ultimate goal is the removal of the immigrants?
Right, I would have said that sounds like a Trump thing. Right. of
So
course.
I've fancied it up. So
I'm going to be really good at this. I think it's going to be Hitler.
I think you're good. This is Hitler. That is too
but,
correct.
But again, they said the same. They've said similar things.
Very,
wouldn't be
very
easy.
not easy.
Okay. All right. Let
Okay.
me have another one. Let me have another one. I'm going to be good at this because I studied this stuff.
Yeah. I think you got this.
So I'm going to try to get all 5 right if I can. Like, I hope you're not trying to stump me, but maybe you
I will carry on the fight until every last one of them has been removed and are gone.
Oh. Okay, that one's a little harder,
I
right? I mean, obviously it's
the
slightly
original
edited.
quote is quite gives it away. So it's
Right.
shorter than that person had their
No,
whole speech.
No, I know.
But I was
that's
proud of that one, of mixing that one
No,
up.
that one's that's harder. They say it again. They
I will carry on the fight until every last one of them have been removed and are gone.
Yeah, that's a weird. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it for sure sounds like it kind of be a Trump thing, but obviously there's kind of that implication of war, and I carry on the fight. So that.
But Trump's fighting against the woke.
Yeah, he's
an immigrant
against they.
So
He's fighting against.
they're both
they.
fighting, but
No, they. I know. Yeah.
you know, so it's hard.
Well, no, like I'm leaning Trump.
You're leaning Trump.
I'm leaning Trump.
Okay, you're gonna go Trump.
All right, I'll go Trump.
It's Hitler.
Okay.
It's Hitler. Yeah,
Yikes.
that one was rough.
Okay.
His was said like
Lovely.
we say this war will not end as the Jews imagined. It will end with the result of the complete annihilation of the Jews. So I had to.
Mhm.
If I said annihilation, I don't think Trump can say annihilation.
No, yeah.
So I think that'd be kind of giving it away.
Yep, it would have given it away.
So I had to kind of dumb that one down. But the fact that I could make it sound like him with minimal editing and some
Right.
synonyms is kind of wild.
Yeah.
So you might get this one. This one you might not. They are killing our women. Our women are being barbarically murdered by these animals. They insist that they are humans, but they are animals.
That's got to be Hitler. I mean, it's just got to be.
That would be Donald Trump.
Oh my God.
So a 22-year-old nurse in Georgia was killed. So he says a 22-year-old nurse in Georgia was barbarically murdered by an illegal alien animal. The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said they're not humans. They're animals.
Oh yeah, that's.
He
right.
said that this week.
Yeah, he did say that. I heard that.
So
Yeah.
that's a wrong.
Yeah.
That's two wrong answers.
Oh, I know. All right, so I gotta get this next one
You're-
right just to end up
On
in
a-
the positive.
Yeah, to get a D.
To get a yeah.
You're at an F right now.
Okay, I'm ready for the last one.
We are having to remove so many of them from our streets. They are more violent than anything our nation has ever seen. They are not human, despite what they say.
Oh well, I was.
There's they as who's talking about the victims of these speeches, right? So they insist they're not human. Is Democrats insist that they're human?
Yeah.
So I had to say they again.
Right. Well, like I was like immediately I was leaning Trump on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the last line maybe sort of pulled it back the other way for me a little. But read it to me again one more time for my.
We're
final
having
answer.
to remove so many of them from our streets.
That sounds like Trump.
They are more violent than anything our nation has ever seen.
That sounds like Trump.
They are not human, despite what they say. That's rough.
That's
Yeah, it feels Trump. It feels Trump, and then you're like, ooh, wow, I really.
gosh, like even bad for even Trump, but I don't know. I'm still gonna go Trump.
You'd be right.
Oh.
60%. So the quote he's talking about MS-13, but he was in the. I watched the whole minute or two clip.
Mm-hmm.
He's like MS-13 immigrant, like he's really kind of
All right.
dog whistling.
Yeah. Can we just take a moment to reflect on
So the fact that you correctly ID'd, I think you ID'd, let's see,
I mean, I got them both mixed up.
Yeah, so you ID'd.
Like both ways, I got them
Yeah,
mixed up.
you got them mixed up. That's tough. So speaking of,
It's crazy though. It's like that we're
there were so many more I could have picked from.
Certainly,
so many more, but I picked. But our women are being barbarically murdered by these animals.
Yeah,
they're not human; they're animals.
Yeah, that's really ugly. Like
that's
it shouldn't.
That is the rhetoric the Nazis used to justify the Holocaust. They're vermin, they're rats, they're insects, and we need to kill them. That was what they used to justify it.
I
up into today.
Yeah, it's the same.
And so it's the same rhetoric.
Yeah, this is the same. It's the same language.
It's exact same language.
It's amazing that a portion of the populace can be swayed to hate to the point that they can hear language like that and it doesn't sound like, wait a second, that's not what America's all about. Like, it's just about the fear, and the fear answers the question of, is this
there's an interesting broader point to be made of like everyone's susceptible to propaganda no matter smart you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that strong men and fascists can really grip a nation.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully our institutions hold strong. One of these points where it's a real test of our institutions, because they're doing shit in Georgia and Texas and here in Florida. Like, they're really trying to rig it kind of everywhere. So we'll see, but
mm-hmm. There it is.
Good. I mean, you did good.
Thank you.
You did good. You're the first one you aced, and I was like, oh, he's gonna get all of them. And then I stumped you, and you were like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel nauseous.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I read it back and I'm like, there's no way the leader of the second largest party in this country and one of the largest parties in the world,
yeah, I know,
is using Nazi rhetoric.
I know.
But then I'm like, what?
It's crazy. I mean, we're living in
terrible.
In such crazy times right now. We are living in the United States. We're living in such crazy times. This wouldn't be crazy if we were in Germany in 1932, but it's crazy right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, they won't do this bad thing. They won't do this, that, or whatever. That's in Germany was what was happening. They're saying all this crazy stuff like, oh no, they were kind of hand waving it. A lot of the parties were hand waving it.
You know, he's right. I mean, it's right. It's about immigration. And so I understand the need for fixing that problem. And I understand.
But deporting over 10 million people.
Well, no, that's the wrong thing to do also, because then we would lose a lot of workers. But the other thing is just, the divisive language, the hateful language,
openly racist, hateful rhetoric.
Right. Because, then it's like, well, if it's okay to talk like that about these people, then maybe it's okay to talk like that about black people.
Well, maybe it's okay in Springfield, it was.
Or Haitian.
In the Haitians in Springfield. I didn't make it a topic to talk about this week, but
yeah,
it directly relates
to
the crazy racist shit that they're saying about the Haitians, which have saved that town, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Is that right?
If you look at those councils and everyone complaining, it's people who don't work anymore and old or on retirement benefits.
Yes. And
people who have immigrated there are young, working people.
Yeah. Interesting.
So you tell me who's helping the community.
Yeah, who's making a contribution to the local
who's
economy.
Contributing more? Young workers or old people on Medicare or Medicaid or whatever who aren't contributing to the economy really at all.
And
if you looked at those council meetings, all you see are aggrieved white people with just dog whistle after dog whistle after. They are coming and they're going to take this. You're one step away from the N-word, which somebody did drop low key.
Really? Oh yeah, in an interview thing, I saw that.
I didn't have it pulled up, but he's like, these Haitian.
I saw that. Yeah, I know.
And I was like,
yeah, how do you make that mistake?
Craziest little Freudian slip I've ever seen.
I think there might be another person who talks some crazy talk also, maybe more on like porn forums.
There's a guy who said he's a black Nazi.
I love the oxymoronic nature.
He really
of that.
wishes he was Blitler.
Blitler.
He really wishes. So, speaking of Blitler, Mark Robinson, current Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, running
for
governor
of North Carolina.
Is down bigly in the polls.
Yes,
he's down bigly. But this came out. The CNN K-file investigation.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the message. Twitter was going crazy.
By the way, just at a glance, I mean, I know about this investigation, and I mean, I don't know a lot about exactly the ins and outs of the investigation, but good work.
Yeah, good work on finding this.
Good investigative work to dig. I don't know who was on the, I don't know.
Somebody
like
they
African Nudes or something. I don't.
Nude Africa.
Nude Africa website. Like
this, by the way, Mark Robinson, 0 IQ individual.
Yeah, to use the same username for everything.
An email for like 15 years after saying crazy stuff. Negative IQ.
Yeah, bad. IQ.
So, and just as a passing comment, if you're commenting on a porn forum. Sociopathy. That's psychopath behavior.
Yeah.
Like clinical. Who does that?
Yeah, that's
not normal people.
No. That's a
deeply sick individual.
A person who has
it doesn't matter
pathology.
what you say. It's just the act of even doing it. No matter what you say, you've already like, oh, cool. You were just your brain doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're just okay. Something's wrong.
It's bad.
And then what he said, it's like, oh,
it's
really bad.
We're nuts. Yeah.
So CNN did this. So he's openly anti-abortion, anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ. A lot of rough stuff. A lot of dog whistling, right? But said some crazy stuff. That I can't even really read.
It's offensive.
It's
go Google it.
It's bad. Yeah, look it up, read it yourself. I can't even read it.
I know.
I'm not even allowed to read it.
It's bad.
Called himself a perv, in pride.
Yeah,
in a prideful way. He
reminisced about being a peep
on
14 years old.
Oh, 14-year-old girls showering and memories. I wish I got to do it more. My favorite one is that his favorite porn is trans porn.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Quite funny. Because my opinion, I have kind of a new thought of a lot of Republicans, definitely a lot of MAGA Republicans specifically, is that every accusation is a confession.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at it.
Yep.
The trans are trying to, groom girls and everything. And then what is this guy doing?
Yeah. So
Matt Gaetz is in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
So
there's an important point that I wanted to talk about this week, and I'm glad you said that because it brings me straight to the point that I wanted to talk about. In medicine, we understand that this is something that we will talk about repeatedly. 1/6 of all people are toxic, narcissistic individuals.
And for people who might ask, that's if you do the math on the percentage of these people, of the percentage of the population, added all together,
1/6.
That percentage equates 1/6.
Equates 1/6.
I just wanted that for
good, thank you.
Yeah, because if not, people are like, where the hell did you get that from?
Yeah, a little bit of background.
Yeah.
This is well. There's been books that have been written about this, so this isn't new. This isn't a novel idea. So anyway, one of the behaviors that these people often engage in is something called reaction formation. So an example of that might be that a man is actually gay on the inside and loves men, but he acts a completely different way on the outside. He might be full anti-gay. He might be right. So it's lying is what it is. It's just it's a form of lying, but it's just what you said. Is that their accusation is actually a confession. And that's a perfect textbook clinical example right here. Mark Robinson, who says is hardcore. I
a
heard
militant anti-trans,
like,
anti-gay, like militant.
militant. In fact, I heard him in a church, like a clip, and he talks about it's filth, and he's like, I don't have a problem calling it filth, and yet,
If a person dare enter the wrong bathroom, felony.
yeah, filth. That's what he called
Yeah,
it. But
filth.
yet, that's what he's into. That's what he believes. That's how he lives.
Yeah.
On the inside. So that is a classic textbook example of what happens with toxic people, narcissistic people like this. Is one of the things that they use is something called reaction formation. But I like the way that you worded it even better.
Every accusation is a confession.
Yeah. Especially the stronger the accusation, the more vehement.
Yeah, if it's an accusation of I say this and factual evident point, factual evident point, factual evident point, that's different. Right? That's a different thing. If I have stats and information and all this, that's different.
Yes.
If it's just, ew, icky, I hate this, ban it, then it's like...
Right, yeah.
But like what for his anti-trans comments, it's just gross.
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah, that's it.
Horrible.
Yeah.
No arguments being made.
Right.
In those cases, accusations are confessions.
By the way, Trump is a huge fan of this guy. Well, at least he said it a few times. I don't know him very well, but I got to know him really well in a short time.
Trump said that this guy is Martin Luther King on steroids.
He's Martin Luther King times two.
And then, so Lincoln Project made a thing.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
It's real funny. So it's Trump thumbs up at an event. Mark Robinson's next to him. I'll have it up on the screen. Trump, this guy is Martin Luther King on steroids. And then it's the quote over Mark Robinson. I wish they'd bring back slavery. I would certainly buy a few.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the things he said on the
also,
forum.
This actually isn't the best part. I don't know if it's going to be here in the article and I can find it real quick. I remember what he said, but I can't actually say one of the words because it's a slur. Oh, I found it. It's actually just a slur. So he was saying stuff on this obscure porn forum so vile that other people commenting on this porn forum were like, "Are you in the KKK?" So other psychopaths were like,
this guy's
a fucking lunatic." Right?
That's great.
So he was scaring other lunatics.
Wow.
With his comments.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm not in the KKK. They don't let blacks join. If I was in the KKK, I would have called him," referring to Martin Luther King, "Martin Lucifer."
Yes.
I can't say the word.
Yes.
I actually can't say it.
Yes.
It's a slur.
Yes.
So the fact that he says this about MLK and then Trump calls him MLK times 2 is the greatest I've ever...
Yeah.
Because I don't think Trump knows of any other black people he's supposed to like. Because you're supposed to like MLK and things like that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
He can't name anybody else.
Right.
I've never heard him say this person's a great person and refers to them being black, and he only has ever said MLK.
Sure.
Many other people have existed.
Yes.
But he doesn't know anybody else.
Yes.
The fact that he used MLK, which in a subtle way probably is insulting to people because it's all he ever uses. And then Mark Robinson's like, actually, the devil. He should die. Martin Lucifer.
I know, it's...
I'm like, and then you complimented him with that is so...
I heard J.D. Vance, I think, he defended Trump, something about like, well, you know, like obviously Trump didn't know about any of these comments.
So
when he
I
endorsed
spoke to a friend in Tabitha about this, actually. So JD Fumbleruski took this all the wrong way. I have zero media training. Can you confirm? I have no media training.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. So unless I've been hypnotized.
You sure don't act like it.
I say a lot of potty words. So I guess I don't really know where they're at. It's JD. So Kamala HQ posts this. Someone asked, Senator Vance, do you have any reaction to the Mark Robinson news? Vance is kind of rushing into another room. Apparently, his kids got him sick and he was doing something to test or whatever. A lot of people around him, but he's wearing a t-shirt and jeans and stuff, so I don't know. But whatever, I'll buy it. You're sick. Sure. However, he then acknowledges the Mark Robinson comment, It says this. My comment on Mark Robinson is that Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Explosion Act. And because of that, a lot of Americans can't afford groceries.
All right. Repeat that again. So this was...
Senator J.D. Vance, Republican vice presidential nominee.
Vance said that?
It's on his Twitter.
Oh, he said it on Twitter.
It's on his Twitter.
Oh, my gosh.
And so he says, my comment on Mark Robinson is that Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Explosion Act. And because of that, a lot of Americans can't afford groceries. So one, J.D. Vance doesn't understand economics. Two,
what a deflection.
How did I explain it? It's the fact that you have acknowledged it and said, my comment on it is, so you fully have acknowledged the accusations.
Yes.
Accusation. It's true, but accusations.
I wait with bated breath to hear his response.
And he 100% pivots and deflects and changes topics.
Yes.
And that, for me, is all but confirming that, yeah, there's
something there.
There's something there. There's not a condemnation, or there's not I would expect something along the lines of, like, this is a very serious accusation against a Republican running for governor in a very important state.
I think that they have no response.
We want to see more information about it before we say anything about it. Sure. That's what I would expect.
I would expect most politicians.
In this moment, it's a moment where you need to give a little bit more of a media trained response.
He's getting more argumentative.
Like this could be made up. We don't know. I haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to risk anybody. Me, my staff, Mark Robinson, his staff. I don't want to risk anyone. Right? I just want to see. I haven't really read the article. I haven't seen much. I've just seen headlines. Let me get back with you guys. That's the political response, the educated response. That's what I say. The safest answer is like, let me look at it a little longer. Right? Acknowledges it, completely dodges. Which means I'm comfortable to say, with other crazy shit that JD has said, there's not much of a condemnation there. In JD's heart.
Oh, right. Yeah.
As the VP, he might have to, like, oh, I don't condone this.
Right.
But in his soul, I don't know how much there JD condemns. Because it's such a strange response. It's like well, yeah, and she did this. Like, well, what do you mean, and yeah, JD? What do you mean, and yeah? You don't just and yeah that. That's insane. You can't just and yeah. That, you know, if he said, like, if Mark Robinson said Kamala's a bitch or something, you can and yeah, whatever, who cares? You're crying over a word.
Sure.
That makes more sense from a Republican.
Right.
You don't just and yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
That's not a hand waving and yeah.
That's a great point.
Because
that's a great point.
JD's has said plenty of stuff where it's like, who do you hang out with and talk to? This is wild stuff. This is like Nazi form stuff you're talking about here.
Totally.
So I've already have suspicions he's in that camp, and then how he's waving it off as like, oh, he slipped up and said a bad word. Mm-hmm. When it's not the case.
Mm-hmm. It's not a good look.
And Trump hitched his trailer to that in North Carolina.
Yeah, and
bad idea.
As of today, I haven't heard that he's going to drop his endorsement of him or anything.
From what I know, has distanced himself and told you're not to come to any of our events. From what I understand.
So that's it. I just don't want to be seen with you anymore.
Yeah, stay the fuck away from me.
But good luck.
Good luck. So
I heard a couple of the pundits talking about how that arguably could help Kamala in North Carolina. Yeah, so
it could have actually an up ballot effect.
So I was listening to Nate Silver, and he talked about how they've never really seen something like an up ballot effect. They've definitely heard of something like down ballot, but I don't know if I completely agree with that, number one, because this is crazy.
I don't agree with Nate Silver on that one at all, yeah.
And the story is crazy, but also this is up ballot, but like barely up ballot, because it's...
Like, my thought is like, let's say...
Governor to president.
Let's say Governor Shapiro got plus 15 in Pennsylvania. If that had been in 2020, there'd have been an up ballot help for Joe Biden probably. If Pennsylvania loves Josh Shapiro plus 15,
yeah,
there'll be a percent that up ballot effect, and that's 1%.
Yeah,
that's a ton. Biden won Pennsylvania by 1.2.
Right.
So it would have been a 2.2 victory.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's already down 10 plus in the polls, Mark Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
The deadline was the day the news article came out. He cannot remove himself from the ballot. Ballots are being printed with his name on it. So he's stuck. Trump has already so many times openly been like, this guy's called him Martin Luther King on steroids. You have hitched your trailer to that cart. Okay. Mm-hmm. You cannot change that. I imagine the targeted ads in North Carolina are juicy.
Oh yeah.
I imagine they're incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So I think maybe we'll get a case of some Republicans are like, what? And kind of disgusted, and I'm not going to vote, or I can't support that. And they don't go. Maybe we get some, wow, we're going to have to vote different for this Democrat. We're going to have to do Democrat. This is crazy. And you probably get some people who are a little more neocon, if you will, might be able to tick Kamala. Mm-hmm. You might get some Republicans stay home. Mm-hmm. That's a similar effect, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to get the Democrats out to vote.
That's
right. Like, I think it increases Democrat turnout and hurts a little bit Republican turnout. But that gap, it's both build the gap.
It makes sense. I mean, I'm
so North Carolina
really glad that he's a horrible person. I'm really glad he's a perv.
So
a self-proclaimed perv.
Proud of it.
Proud of, like a proud perv. And I'm really glad he's still going to be on the ballot.
Me too.
In North Carolina.
In 2022, Republicans ran a bunch of loser candidates. And they all lost. Bigly. As Trump would say. They lost bigly. Right? So thank you, Republicans, for running another stupid candidate.
Yeah. Man.
I don't see how this doesn't objectively hurt the Trump.
In Carolina.
Or North Carolina specifically. I don't see how it doesn't.
I don't see how there's a net zero effect for
there's
something.
No.
So, like, I just,
No.
Especially if they hit the ads good and hard all the way up until the election.
So remember, North Carolina was a 1.2 for Biden. Or for Trump, sorry. That's not an insurmountable amount of odds. And Democrats have been outspending them like times 3 in North Carolina. I think so there's a real chance.
I love the as always, I love the electoral analysis. It's always
got to tie it in.
It's
important.
It's always really, really great
it's
stuff.
Important.
It's really, but yeah, because I do want to hear about. There was a Kamala interview. And I saw at the end of a Kamala interview this week, looked like some sort of a young black leaders kind of a conference.
NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I watched almost the whole thing.
And I saw a clip from a right-leaning perspective where it was just the end of the interview and kind of a quiet handshake with the people that were there, not much spoken, and she sort of walked off stage, and it was kind of quiet and seemed like lackluster. But I didn't even really understand the context of the interview, so I actually don't really know much about that interview or what happened.
I watched some, and I have some notes.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about.
So I think there's valid criticism
of Kamala,
but it's really rich coming from Republicans. Okay. It's really rich coming from them.
Got it. All right.
I mean, they're throwing stones from an incredibly brittle glass house. Right? Like take it easy, buddy.
It's already pre-cracked.
Like, it's hard. You can't even really stand in it. It's so fragile. Like, if the wind blows, it's done. Right? But from a Democrat perspective, particularly like a young Democrat and a progressive and stuff, right? She came off very establishment, which is disappointing. Because I think Kamala herself is interesting. Like, she has a good personality. I think she's not a bad speaker. I think she's fun. Because there's a moment where her personality breaks through. It's like, there's a person in there. But she was reading, like, her eyes were open, but she was like in a meditative state reading a script. And it was obviously kind of her stump speech, but that's kind of to be expected. But it's bad.
Really?
How, like, clearly she's reading from a script,
A mental script.
a mental script. Like it's painfully obvious.
Interesting.
So one of my critiques is she's doing the same insincere Democrat / liberal speak.
Yeah, interesting.
Where Hillary does it. Hillary's a big example.
Yeah.
Everybody can see it with her,
Yeah.
right? Joe Biden's too old to do it. And he's too goofy and fucks up all the time, so he just can't.
Yeah.
Kamala's doing it also, but she's younger and a better speaker, so it doesn't sound as bad. But she's doing it again. It's kind of this droning on, and we're going to do this, and I'm moving on, and it's all right.
Yes.
No, we don't want that.
Yes. I have a comment about that.
Like we've heard that, and that's not it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like if you look at the DNC, all the hype came from the speakers who didn't do that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Our hype
from
for
the people
her
who were authentic.
Our hype from her in the beginning was because she hadn't started doing that yet. In the beginning, it was still her. Now, my criticism, is it Kamala's fault or is it Democrat strategy fault?
Yeah, I think it's Democrat strategy fault.
I lean, that's not much her fault. She's still guilty. She did it. But Democrat leadership and strategy was stop saying we're not going back. What? That's like the motto of the campaign.
Yeah, that's a good line.
They wanted to have her stop saying we're not going back.
Yeah, I don't.
So if that's who advising her,
right,
get new advisors.
I think
you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it feels to me like they the advisors or the strategists that are in the camp on the inside, or it might be a little bit her as well, or maybe a lot her. I don't know, but I get the feeling of like it's a let's not mess anything up kind of a thing. Like, let's be sure that everything that she says, or it might be her saying, I'm going to be sure that everything I say is kind of a pre-packaged, like a can thing.
She is fighting. She's a woman, and people hate women in this country, and she's a minority. I understand that, but I think a part of it is.
But imagine any little misstep, though. Like if she starts to freeball a little bit and something sort of a little kind of half awkward were to slip out, people would pounce on it.
Who would pounce? People who are already voting for her.
Well,
how? Like if she does this kind of moderate pandering-esque speech, is she pulling any Republicans from Trump?
Well, I don't think it's
probably not.
Yeah, I don't.
If anything, she's hurting her turnout.
Yeah.
If Democrats get full turnout, they will win everything.
For sure.
There's more Democrats in this country than Republicans, so it's a turnout issue.
Right.
If she gets every Democrat in every swing state to turn out, she wins those swing states, almost guaranteed. Right. So recognize it's an election where there's very, very, very few undecided voters. That's the case. Every poll, everything's saying there's like 3% undecided voters, and it's not like they're all miraculously put in the swing states. There's 50 states, right? So recognize it. Like, no, our base is solidified. This is basically 2020 V2. The base is set for both sides. It's who can get everyone out.
I get that. So
right? That's my.
So anything that you feel like might kind of like dampen the flame of excitement that she has going, kind of like slow the enthusiasm.
Yeah, she cannot do that.
But that's what it felt like happened.
Oh, yes.
With this.
Yes.
So it's almost like this pre-canned stump speech.
I did like the whole thing she was on Oprah and she was like, I'm a gun owner, and if someone breaks in my house, I'm going to shoot him. And then she's like, I shouldn't have said that. My staff's going to deal with that later. I think she said it not totally recognizing that she was saying that, and then was like, well, we're here.
Yeah.
That's way more endearing. Yeah. Even if people don't like that she cackles or laughs or whatever.
I know, but who would love that kind of language?
I'm not saying that language.
A gun-toting.
But do you see...
She's authentic. Right. She's herself.
That was Kamala. She said it and she was like, well, here we are. You know what I mean? My point broadly is Trump sounds real.
Yeah.
He's also reading a script, and he's terrible at it now. But a part of his charm, if you will, was
it's
he's
him.
Making it up. That's Trump up on stage.
Yep. You know who he is. You know what he is.
That's
about.
a part of why he won in 2016.
Oh,
I mean, people specifically said he doesn't talk like them, he doesn't sound like them, he's going to shake it up.
Yes. I think the more she
It's
can do that, the
because
better.
he talks different.
And
If she talked a little more how she talks, but with people, the better. I'm not saying change your script. You're going to have to stick with it. You don't have much of a choice.
Can I tell you that
Presentation.
So I thought that the Oprah production, and man, that was a production after Trump's kind of like town hall kind of thingy that he did a little bit earlier in the week. I've got a clip here of something that he said there that was really stupid.
You got to play it. Yeah.
So, in fact, well, I mean, I guess I could contrast his response to a question from an audience member to her.
Oh,
response.
I might have seen this.
So I'll just play his clip. I've got it ready to go.
Okay, let's go.
Go. Here we are.
My name is Isaiah. I'm a third-generation UAW worker, working hard to build trucks here in America.
I've not heard this one.
Get ready. You're going to be doing plenty of it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I work for Ford, and you actually came and visited the plant that I work at. You did. And my question to you, sir, is what do you see as the major threats to the future of Michigan manufacturing auto working jobs, and what will you do to eliminate those threats, sir?
What do you see as threats
To the Michigan
manufacturing
auto
jobs?
working jobs.
So a very, very specific question. What will you do?
But important, that is the UAW.
Oh, yeah, right. Sure.
So if you want to try to get blue collar union workers, which Trump likes to pretend they are for,
yes,
good question.
So here's how Trump wants to get those.
This is how. Okay, let's hear how Trump will.
So here's his answer.
Okay, this is a 5-minute clip.
Yes, it'll only take 10 more seconds, and then the clip is over.
Okay.
So here's Trump's answer to that specific question.
Niche group.
Very.
Okay, so I'll get into another little bit of a long answer, because when you say major threat, to me we have one really major threat that's called nuclear weapons.
So what that to me is probably one of the very, very best examples of he has no idea how to answer the question, so he's just going to default right to some big scary
he has
thing.
fallen off a cliff. 2016 Trump was an animal compared to 2024 Trump.
Yeah, he probably would have had some sort of a reasonable answer.
He would have thrown something together, like
at least a little more.
China's taking our jobs. We need to get
something that would have been more on
our manufacturing has moved around. We need to make sure the companies stay here. And he would have tried.
Yes.
It'd have been a lie.
Yes.
But he would have tried.
Now,
you're right. We have one threat to manufacturing in Michigan: nukes.
But
Iran's going to nuke us and we're going to die in Michigan.
So that's bad. That's a bad answer.
Yeah.
But as is axiomatic in politics, it's easy to sell fear, and so he'll just skip the question and go straight to the fear answer, which has nothing to do with the question at all, which is classic Trump, but really now at this point kind of classic Republican.
Yeah, at this point it's pretty Republican. Yeah.
Yeah,
my critique isn't maybe that Kamala is wrong, but that her and Tim Walz built an energy of like, this is an objectively more progressive campaign.
Okay, but here's what I wanted to say though. So about the Oprah interview,
I didn't watch the whole thing.
So I only watched the first quarter of it, maybe. What a production it was! It was a production.
It looked like a production.
It was an Oprah quality, and I thought it was a really kind of a tactical mistake to put Kamala up on stage with arguably one of the most kind of natural and authentic and best real talk human beings on earth.
Yeah, that's a strategic error, tactical error.
Oprah had to kind of bring her back and kind of like reel her in a little and like, okay, but let's go. So, and like Oprah's just so much better at being like direct, and she's so sharp. So,
and Obama would have done really good with that.
He probably would have done better, but it was a question from a a person on Zoom, actually a couple, like a husband and wife, and they're living in this house, and we can't afford stuff anymore, and they're about to have another baby. Groceries expensive and rent's expensive, all that kind of thing. What are you going to do? There was some other things in the story, but anyway, what are you going to do to help us? And
yeah,
it was a pretty painful
answer,
slow, kind of meandering.
She does meander a little.
Like, my mom.
She saw that in the debate. She does meander a little. She drills a point that's usually decent.
Yeah, she's got some good zingers.
As politicians go.
Yeah, she's got some great
but
zingers.
But it takes her 90 seconds to get there.
It
Kamala,
takes her...
you have 15 seconds to grab me.
Right.
Then you can meander.
I told my lovely bride at the beginning, at the end of the question, before she answered, this is going to be about her take on opportunity economy. That's what this is going to end up being about. And
I have something to say.
So I was like, just wait, it'll come. And so she started to answer the question. And I think, if I remember right, the first words out of her mouth, or one of the first words were, my mother, and I was raised, and this is how my mother did it. And she went off on all these things. And then she talked about, we want to give, the credit for starting a small business, and we want to give like a new home buyer credit and some different things. She got a little specific on some of that. But, and then she went into the thing about the economy but it was so kind of slow and indirect, meandering. And
she has good energy. It's not that she doesn't have it. I wish
it was actually, I felt like her energy was awfully low at the Oprah thing.
Her
especially
personally separate from that interview has energy.
Oh yeah, her as a human,
and she can go. Her as a human, she can do it. That's my point. Of I don't think it's her problem. I think it's an national Democrat still stuck in like a 2008 era of like, you can't just ride the coattails of Obama being a great speaker. You cannot do that anymore. Bernie came in as like an old man, but he hits you with it
direct.
He doesn't play around.
Right.
And they had
so powerful.
And Bernie has permanently shifted the Democrat Party left because of him. Medicare for all gets talked about because of him. The raising the minimum wage is such a popular talking point because of him.
Sure.
So many of these things happened.
Yeah.
Not because he's world's greatest speaker.
He's a hero to the rest.
Because he tells you how he sees it, and he's going to hit you with it.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, the billionaires are taking, it's where it's all at. We got to go get it.
Yeah.
He doesn't play around.
Yeah.
Oh, for so many years.
Yeah. I never heard any stories about his mom and dad.
No, he comes in. He's like, you're lucky we're not putting a 900% tax on you. You're lucky we're not taking more. That's what he says. He's like, you're lucky it's not worse.
Yeah.
Look, I'll take all your money.
I tell you, the day that the Dems ever find a candidate who will give real talk, I think maybe arguably the last one, or the only one that I really know of would be Bill Clinton. He would have been the closest thing to something like that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Maybe you can go to something else.
They've shifted to this.
Kennedy, I think, probably would have been.
That's my point. Like, older Democrats didn't do that.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Yeah, not
now they do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why this is the strategy. I really think they were spoiled because Obama won so big, and they're like, oh, that's why we won.
So yeah, no, let's all be like Obama.
No,
I know.
No,
yeah, it's not. He
did worse in 2012, and they tried to keep it in 2016, and people were sick of that stuff.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
No, you gotta.
So
I mean, just like you mentioned before, Obama's a once in a generation kind
speaker.
Of like speaker. So
you can ride this kind of insincere,
while he's in
weird
office,
meandering thing. You can ride his generational ability to speak.
Yeah.
But that isn't a strategy. That's Obama. You got us. That's not a plan.
Okay, so are you saying that you would give Kamala and her team,
if I was in charge,
the strategic advice of, I need you to give answers that are briefer, more direct, more authentic, how you feel?
Kamala, I need you to, do you talk this bland and flat in private?
Yes.
I'm sure you don't.
Yeah.
Kamala, I need to speak like how you speak in private. A little more. Okay?
Yeah.
And I need you to just hit people with answers. I don't need you to hand me an answer. I need you to throw it at me. Fastball. But I have more comments about.
I want to hear it.
So we're going to kind of well, I guess I don't know if we'll stay long on this specific one because it's everyone's guilty. Zero ability to call out Republicans. No ability. So this was
Kamala you're talking about.
Kamala. I don't really know of a Democrat who was very good on a national stage. Buttigieg is okay. Buttigieg is all right. But Kamala specifically, they're saying all the crazy racist shit in Springfield. And she goes on we disagree too much and we got to tone down this argumentative stuff. And I'm like, no. They're saying they're killing dogs because they're black.
Yeah. I know. You're wanting somebody. You're wanting somebody to call it out.
The Republicans have given her the easiest ever. It like they've gifted her perfect packaged bow wrapped up with her name on it.
Yep.
Here. Here's your punch, the Republican Party. Perfect. And she's like, thanks. And she does this. She grabs it and she's like, we need to be friends. Like,
I feel like
not that she can come out and call all of them KKK. She can't do that. I recognize that.
Sure.
But pointing out like there has been racist rhetoric used against legal immigrants in Ohio. That is not a country we should live in. That is not acceptable at any point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say anyone did really anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you see how much that's more of an answer
Yes.
than whatever the hell she said? I don't even remember what she said because it wasn't an answer.
Yeah.
And I watched it like 4 times to be like, what? No way.
Yeah. I feel like in the beginning of the campaign when
she was swinging.
It felt
her first speech the day Biden dropped out, she was like,
yeah, it was like
these racist Republicans.
Yeah, in fact I remember
I was
after the
hype.
speeches. Yeah, I was hype. I remember the the pundits after the speech. They talked about it.
Being like, wow, she's aggressive.
Well, yeah, like it seems like the Dems are going to be abandoning kind of this high road. They go low, we go high thing. Maybe we're going to let that go finally. But what
they've
it feels
come back.
like, I know, so I was going to say, but what it feels like now is that they're kind of abandoning kind of that more attack strategy that they had and going on this kind of attack.
I do not know why.
Yeah. I mean, her big line that she hits over and over again that I've seen in the last like week or two. And I don't know. I just think it falls a little flat. I think every time she says it, it doesn't garner a huge audience response or anything, but even though she's right, but there's nothing exciting about it. But there's more about us that is the same than is different. There's more about us that are alike.
No, I am not the same as a Republican.
So
in Ohio, calling Haitians all kinds of slurs.
Right.
Yeah, cool. We're both humans. Sure. They have human rights that I won't trample.
Sure.
But beyond that, not really the same.
I know.
Not really the same.
I feel like they're so uncomfortable on offense. It's
so disappointing,
especially as I think like a large Democratic campaigning machine.
They're so scared to be on the offense.
Like
they're like, oh, it's okay. We are more alike than we do again. Oprah said the same stuff, and it makes me angry when she says it too. She's like, we need to stop fighting all this, and I'm like, no.
We gotta. Yeah.
You're lucky I'm not beating them harder.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna keep beating this drum. They're just saying it out loud, and there's no punishment for what they're saying. There's no repercussions.
Yeah, it's just
they're saying
okay.
racist stuff. Their base is cheering, and we're like, darn, we're gonna win this one. That's our best. That's what we got.
It sounds like that's one of your biggest beefs with the Democratic Party at this point.
Yeah, I have policy beefs with the Democrats, but that's like
from a campaign standpoint,
much more intricate, and how you policy are you pushing, and how are we going to shape? That's much more intricate. Largely as a winning and losing thing, Democrats could have this in the bag much easier than they have it now.
I know they should have.
But they would just hit Trump with what he's doing.
Yep.
Wow, Trump's talking. He has said a whole lot of absolutely zero. Tim Walz does a little bit better with this. He doesn't listen quite as much.
Which I think.
And I had a point. We were coming here. I was thinking, who has the highest favorability rating among the candidates?
Yeah, right.
Tim Walz.
Yeah.
Who puts it the most straight?
Yep.
Tim Walz.
Yep. Very, very clearly. I think that's
who's
gonna
second best? Kamala.
Yeah.
Who's better than JD and Trump?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's my point. And she's the second highest.
Yeah.
JD's the worst.
Yeah.
And his is the lowest. So I'm not saying that that's the reason, but it's an interesting correlation. Walz puts it how he thinks, how he sees, and how he says. I've heard him talk with his daughter on a personal camera recording when they're at the fair.
Yeah.
Same person that's on stage.
Yeah.
Talks the same, laughs the same, makes the same jokes.
That's what's cool.
He hasn't
because
changed.
It's him.
It's him.
He's just himself.
Same with Bernie.
Yeah.
Bernie, if you met Bernie in DC, Bernie would talk to you how he talked to the DNC. He's yelling at the DNC.
If Waltz performs like I think he will be able to against Vance in the debate, I think that Waltz will become a superstar in the Democratic Party if he performs the way he's able to.
I think it'll actually have an interesting. I don't think it'll move a lot of voters. What I think it do is it will open up opportunities to attack the Vance pick harder.
Yeah,
like I think it'll be like, not that it'll move voters, but it'll like.
I think he's going to go after Trump a ton, though. Like I feel like that's going to be.
Well, JD's nothing, so
yeah.
JD's 3 guys in a coat. So, I have a little bit more to say about Kamala and then not much left.
Because I do want to transition at the end of this.
Yeah, we got to tighten this up. So
to the yep.
I hate opportunity economy.
I know.
You have an opportunity to not starve to death.
I know.
Great.
I know.
How about I just don't starve to death, Kamala? How about that? How about I just don't die?
I know.
You know what? You have an opportunity to not get shot. How about I just don't. I don't want an opportunity economy. I want a guarantee economy, which, by the way, I think sells better.
Well, that's what Trump does. He talks about, I guarantee it's going to be better. I guarantee.
Not an opportunity economy. I want a guarantee economy.
I know. It's too reasonable.
Your healthcare will be better.
Yep.
You will get more pay at work. You will be able to afford more groceries. You will, like, I don't want the opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
People who don't have a lot don't give a shit about opportunity. They want an answer.
I think it's an attempt to spin a thing that I think ought to be given real direct and between the eye, like economics, to try to put that fluffy kind of like
fluffy.
Obama,
no,
like eloquent,
it's that same thing. No,
clever
don't.
Sort of.
Yeah, no. It's
like
you got
hope and opportunity. And...
No. So people don't know anything about economics. One. Right.
So
you hit them with, I say, guarantee economy. People who are working 2 jobs, can't afford anything. That's their opportunity. They're working as hard as they can. They don't care about an opportunity economy.
Yeah.
They want a guarantee. I will fix this. You will get this.
I'm going to have to...
I don't want everyone to have the opportunity to have health care. Oh, you have a shot at it. I don't know. We'll see. You know what I mean? Maybe. We'll see. Opportunity.
I'm gonna make an attempt.
Do you see my point?
No, I do. No, I do. It's. I mean, I agree with you.
I really think it's one of the biggest fumbles.
I think opportunity economy and that strategy, especially for something so important.
If I'm a Republican,
well, they jump on it.
Not like I would.
Yeah, I mean,
they really don't.
I feel like
not
they can.
Republicans worse. To be fair, they're worse. But if I'm like them in line, trying to win,
right,
I would be bashing her over the head with that.
Yeah. What does it even mean?
Yeah, she wants you to have the opportunity to not starve. That means that some of you don't have an opportunity. Sorry.
Yeah.
I would just, you know what I mean? Like,
I know it's easy to attack. It's hard to understand.
I don't even know what it means. We already have an opportunity economy.
I might for a future podcast try to dive into that a little bit more.
I will want at a larger point
on her platform.
Yeah.
And
another one, a little bit trickier to call out, particularly now that Republicans have backed off the SAVE Act in the funding bill. Cowards in Congress, we love it. Make them fold. Joe's in there, walking up and be like, "You're not going to do it." And he's just getting right in their face. Yeah. So Joe's bullying them. Mm-hmm. Good for Joe. But kind of calling the Republicans in Congress as it is. They did it with Obama, big time. Mitch McConnell did. And they're doing it now. Just getting in the way of good legislation for the sake of getting in the way.
Yeah.
The easiest one is the immigration bill.
Kill it so you can run on it.
It would be better than it is today. It doesn't mean perfect, but it would have been better. And they killed it. So they're just getting in the way of things that are helpful for people.
Actively.
just actively getting in the way.
Yep, they're actively blocking things that might be good legislation.
In-
That's
beneficial for people.
well, yeah, I mean they've been doing that forever,
But no one says anything. Beat the drum.
We do.
We do. Republicans in Congress. Now, if you're not that Republican in Congress,
I'm going to get you a little drum, so when you say that, if you have a point you want to make, you can hold the drum up,
Just
and
bash it.
pound on it for a second.
yeah, right. That Republicans in Congress have always, but I haven't heard anyone say anything. And this is so confusing to me that no one even pushes this. Is like, so let's say I'm a Democrat and I want to get you X, Y, and Z. I need you to get me a Congress so we can get you X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No one.
Yeah. Be plain about it. I know.
Because look, I would tell them, like, as much as I want to just give you guys healthcare because you guys deserve healthcare, I have to go ask Congress. Use that bully pulpit.
Yeah.
I'm the president.
Yeah.
Or the president running for president.
Yeah.
I need Congress to let me do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you need to tell them to let me do it.
Yeah.
And if there's somebody in there who's not letting us do it, get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Go put somebody else in.
I don't hear enough of it.
I don't understand why no one talks about it.
It's almost like people don't understand how government works. Like, the president doesn't control the price of gasoline.
Yeah, people think executive order is how you run the government.
Right, but
like, if I'm up there running, I know that Americans don't understand that.
But you can talk about it to some degree.
I can tell them, like, look, without getting into the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
If I want a law
bill passed, I'm going to ban guns.
I need Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just do this or do that. Congress has to do that.
But that feels like real talk to me, though.
And so I would say, look, I want to do this. That's what we all want, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have, and now I tell all the people, you have to tell Congress that's what you want too. If not, they're going to ignore you, and they're not going to vote for anything that helps you. They're going to make it worse for you.
Yes.
You have the option every 2 years, 6 years for senators, 2 years for the House, to put who you want in that Congress. And if you want things that help you, you change the Congress, and I will pass every bill I can. The moment it hits my desk, I sign everything I can. But if they don't put it on my desk, Congress failed you. I tried my best. We tried our best.
That's open governing to me.
That's bully pulpit to me.
Yeah.
That's that FDR.
There we go.
97 senators on my side.
It's what we're missing.
But like messaging like that, I feel like Americans would love that.
Yeah, we agree that if there's ever anybody who can step in and talk to people that.
Yeah, that was, I mean, we really hit on the first thing, kind of answered a lot of stuff like this Democrat, liberal, I'll say liberal speak.
It's a beautiful point. Yeah, this liberal speak. It's a beautiful point. It's so appropriate for, I feel like, right now in the election. Unfortunately, this won't hit enough years to probably make a huge dent, but I guarantee that we won't stop talking about this.
I will talk about it every time I sit down. I will say it until someone does it. I will move up the ranks from local politics. There's your pivot. There's your segue.
There's our segue into the final.
Into state politics.
Yeah.
Into the Senate.
Yep.
And then I will walk up to some presidential elect, physically hold their arm behind their back, and be like, enough tomfoolery.
Enough shenanigans.
Quit yanking their chain.
Enough ballyhoo.
Just say it. Anyway, maybe I have to run for president to say it.
So what our plan?
2040, vote for me.
Is that an election year? Yeah, it would be.
Assuming everything goes the same.
So is this an official announcement of your 2040 presidential election campaign?
Or maybe...
Are you even old enough in 2040?
Yeah, that's 16 years from now.
Yeah, you have to be 35.
I'd be 38. Yeah, I can't... So I'd be 1 year too young in 2036. If I was born in 2000.
So as early as you can possibly run for president, that's when you're running for president. 2040, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna make JFK look like an old man when he ran for president.
Can I just say, you have one vote, at least so far.
At least one vote. I'll only
Yeah,
need
like-
probably close to 100 million more.
Yep.
By then.
By then,
By then.
100 million more.
Not too bad. I can do that.
So it brings us straight
So
to.
that's the segue.
Yeah, no,
You like that? You like how I
it-
grabbed that one, didn't I?
It's like you've been doing this at least 8 episodes. By the way, I feel like we
I Joe Rogan to that one.
talked about how this is the first official
Recorded and intended
recorded
to be
full
show
podcast
podcast.
/podcast. Yeah, this is our first kind of official one, but we've done this like 8 times. But it kind of mirrors the birth of the country, and sort of we've been operating under the Articles
of Confederation.
of Confederation for the last 8.
And this
sort of
is
half-
our Constitution.
This day becomes our kind of like constitutional birth
I
of the
agree.
United Front.
We'll only get better.
Show.
Yeah, so let's pivot real
know,
quick
but-
because it's important.
Yeah,
I want to hit this real quick.
All right.
As fun as it is to just be like, ooh, who's the president? Local.
Yeah.
Local.
Right. So
Because like as cool as it is, like, oh, we have like a Democrat governor, your 80% Republican state Congress
yeah,
is only going to pass crazy shit.
they're gonna ravage.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So as fun as it is to think, oh, my governor's blue, my president's blue. Your president needs to be blue. The U.S. Congress needs to be blue.
Yeah, your state house.
State house needs to be
would
blue.
be better blue.
Your mayor, like all the way down, all the way down.
If you can get it, by all means get it. And we
Yeah, like Kamala won't solve a lot of issues that your state house will solve
yeah. So this is just
for
good-
you as a person in a state.
Yeah. So I think our intention here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think our intention here is going to be to do something now, like try to also to kind of lead by example. And so we're not just going to sit here and do a podcast, but we're going to be actively engaged locally.
Yeah, maybe we can get some stuff on camera, and maybe we can get somebody in here.
Yeah. So
That's my hope.
right. So this is going to be an evolution of kind of
Yeah, I don't want our show to turn into something just to be us screaming at a camera
correct.
and doing nothing.
Yeah, we want some sort of result, some sort of good result at the end of this. And,
Yeah.
and I feel like the easiest way to do that, especially because we have some experience with this already because of the pandemic and projects that we've worked on in the past together.
Yeah,
So, but here we are now.
of getting involved in a local sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Of
we
getting
do
involved
have experience.
at the local level, and how, boy, you can really
I
have an
believe
impact.
I believe, just to brag for you,
Yeah, by all means.
because you won't. I believe it was you who swayed our county commissioners to vote in favor of some form of not. You couldn't do a mask mandate in Florida.
So we got we got some
So we have five.
masking things.
We have 5 commissioners, right?
Well, it was actually the council.
Or the
city
council. Yeah, the city council. My bad. City
Yep.
council.
Yep.
I'll say you. It was you leading it. So we're going to give you the credit.
Yeah, probably it was me leading it.
Yeah. So you managed to sway. Was it 3 or 2?
2 of them were already kind of on board with it. We had to sway 2 more in order to override the mayor's veto.
So you managed that, did you not?
I think.
But
that's how
Ron
it worked
DeSantis
out.
had already come down with the hammer of no mask mandates.
It was
So on a state level, you weren't allowed to do anything more than what you did.
yeah. Well, I mean, like there was a lot of moving parts, but
But I will say you.
But in a red area,
But in a
we
in a
were-
red area with probably red people up there,
we were able to
got a 4-1 to override a mayor's veto.
Yeah, we were able to do a few things that hopefully helped a little bit. So,
But
it was invaluable experience just to kind of to be a part of it, and
that's the power of local politics.
yeah.
That's the power.
We actually lived it. We lived it. We
Yeah.
were at the
And so on a point that,
meetings
like,
and-
as daunting as it seems,
yeah. This is a good point.
right?
Yep.
Seems terrifying. I'm sure it's not a stretch to just like call somebody. You know what I mean? Or Or get with a local organization or get with some people.
So look, if you're a liberal and you're in a purple state or you're in a red county or even a red state, like a red county and red state like we are,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to do what we can to try to crank the turnout as much as we can ourselves, and we're going to join our local cause. Just,
Our local Democrat Party.
and just a couple of examples of some local things. We learned about this just a couple of hours ago when we were at the local Dem headquarters. You know, there was an active phone bank
They were phone banking.
going on while we were there.
Yep.
And it was, I don't know. I mean, what'd you think? I mean, what was that experience like to walk in there and see
politics in action, real politics,
real politics on a local level? But the first question was, are you voting for Kamala? So it's like there's, you know, a little bit like national is a part of this. Obviously, it always will
the president. That's probably the first goal is don't let Trump in.
But all our state elections, all these, you know, state rep, you know, district 20, 23, 24, all these things. So, you know, it's local, it's national, it's everything. So how did you feel? Like, I want to hear what your initial reactions are.
Encouraged. Encouraged. Because I have the executive mindset. If I'm running for a house, it's the president.
Oh God.
Right. So just that's how I roll. Right. So I guess my next interest is, how are you running this what's the strategy? Right. Because maybe I got dumb ideas or maybe I have good ideas. I don't know. But I want to know what they think. 'Cause I'm curious. But I felt encouraged.
Yeah.
The lady who we spoke to, who is the lead for the phone banking, Dana, that's her name.
Yep. And a precinct captain.
A precinct captain, yep. Said that she has about 100 people signed up to phone bank, but like about 40 committed,
kind of actively
active phone bankers have contacted 44,000 people.
Yeah, in the last couple of month or something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know, that was a huge number. I was like, oh wow, you guys have made a hell of a dent.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would obviously love for it to have been higher, but
yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of work
but
to do.
It's not.
I mean, our county has about 400,000 people, so you know,
that's a dent.
Yeah, probably.
We probably won't send our county blue, you know, but you don't need to send our county blue to.
If the turnout is high enough, you can even turn this county blue.
You can.
But
the turnout is biggest high. Thing is if you want to get Florida to a certain direction, you don't need to win every county. You need to win enough of every county.
Yep. Sway it all.
The biggest example is Miami-Dade. Shifted like 15 points to the right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Still went blue. But the turnout. So that's the thing is another thing for people locally is you don't necessarily need to win. I mean, you'd love to win your local people. Be good people, right? But I think locally, probably party lines aren't as the same weight as nationally. Probably have a better shot of finding a reasonable Republican. Probably as a local thing, right?
On average, probably.
On average, probably. I mean, there's crazy people.
Yep.
Don't forget it. But probably on average.
Yep.
I mean, if you live in the same town,
probably
easier to agree on how you want to help the town. Probably easier to work that way. It's just harder to have disagreements. We're both experiencing the same thing. Probably easier to work that way. But making sure you get all your people out to vote, doing canvassing locally, phone banking, and everything like that. And if you get your county, let's say it votes 30% blue, but it votes 37% blue, that's big.
Yeah, that could make, if every county does that, then that could make the entire state. I mean, it would make the entire state that's a huge percentage swing. If every county did that in every state.
Florida, every state, we'd be a 50-state sweep.
Yeah, maybe some of the.
Damn near. But that's my point. Like, all you need is one county to do something crazy.
It's just engagement. This is what engagement's going to look like. And we're going to try to experience it for ourselves.
Yeah, I have this mindset. I want to see if I can really test it is interpersonally, when I interact with individuals, I've found very little people who I can't get to agree with me. I'm obviously 99% of the time the politically educated one, It was my job to
in some average interaction.
I mean, just people who are like, wow, this person knows their shit. Okay, I can't just
Not a
lie,
I mean, not someone who's just hardcore MAGA, because you can't convince them of anything.
obviously, but on the average, most people, I would say,
Mhm.
because I'm quite progressive, pretty on the left, I can get most people to agree with me, and that's, to be fair, that's because the median voter is very uneducated, kind of nuts. But to remember that,
Would you go to the level to call them deplorable?
I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. Now I forgot all about that.
Oopsie.
Oops. But to remember that, like,
So let's educate people.
you're not educate them. You're not fighting. Now you're fighting Fox News. That's hard. But if you continue to plant the seed, some of those will grow.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to get everyone to vote blue. But if you plant enough seeds,
Yeah.
just enough seeds,
Yeah.
you can get something.
a little
right?
a little over a third are going to vote red, no matter what.
Yeah.
No.
And so you're
matter
not going to
what.
get
You're
everyone,
not going to get everyone.
but plant the seeds.
Mm.
And I want to see this, right? Because when I interact with an individual personally, say something like, it's crazy that not everyone can get healthcare. Like,
Mhm.
people need to pay $15,000, $20,000 in the hospital. That's nuts.
Mhm.
Their life needed to be saved. Hard time finding someone who disagrees with me. And if I kind of made something up, but if you kind of propose it
Yeah.
kind of in the right way, they'll agree to the principles of Medicare for all.
I think
That's my argument,
yeah. If you can practice that,
right? So if you can sell these ideas on a lot of people, and you can plant the seeds,
Mhm.
and then enough people will be like, well, I think people probably should have to pay $100,000 in the hospital. That's absurd. That's something. You can work from there. And remember, people will plant their own seeds, right? If I knock on one door
Mm,
and I get one person and go, that's a good point, I'll think about that. Oh, I planted a seed. Holy shit, I did it.
sure.
They'll talk to somebody
Mm.
and they might plant a seed. So I've personally now planted 2. That's then 4. That's then 8. That's then 6. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it'll spread.
Yes.
And you don't need to make every county blue.
Yeah.
Just tip it left.
As much as you can tip it, as much as we can, which
Mhm.
is that. I mean, that's what we're gonna
We're
do.
going to do it. And we're going to try.
Yep. We'll test.
I'm
it.
excited to meet
Hopefully, we'll get a chance to
some of
meet.
these candidates. I'd tell you, yeah, I would say,
So there's some state reps. So hopefully we can get in touch with the campaigns for really like almost all of them.
yeah, I would love to.
And we're going to get in touch with some of the local Democratic leaders, the young Democrats as well. And
Yep.
we're just going to see what's happening locally, how we can help, what the current efforts are about. Because, the efforts in our county probably mirror that of just about everywhere. So it'll be interesting to give people who are kind of curious about
In
what happens when
particularly
you plug
in
local.
a red area.
Yeah, especially if it's somewhat, this
'Cause-
is a pretty red
because
county.
Geographically speaking, most of the country is red. People wise,
Yeah,
more-
by county, there's
by county,
there's
there's
more red
more round
counties.
counties. So that doesn't necessarily mean much, but that just means that unless you live in a city,
Mm.
probably in a red county,
kind of, yeah,
pretty
right.
much exclusively.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So there's a lot of people in these red counties. So we're going to try in a red county.
Mm.
I want to say it, I don't know how it votes, but the attitudes of people here is deep red, like ruby red.
Yeah,
There is MAGA here.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some real MAGA
Like
there.
it's like an every other house
Yeah, there's some.
is repping full Trump signs everywhere.
Yeah, there's
like
a-
it's not an exaggeration.
Yeah,
So I don't know what the vote percentage is, but those who vote red are ruby red. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like American flag stripes red.
Yeah, it's like some people, like maybe we get like 60% Republican, but every one of them is a MAGA Republican.
They're MAGA hat red.
We're in Florida. I mean, it's rough down here.
Mhm.
So, but we're gonna see in a rough area of a rough state.
I'm really excited to plug in.
Yeah. So I think it'll be able to maybe inspire some people who live in a Pennsylvania or a Georgia or North Carolina that's not as like
And
as red as Florida is now.
yeah,
See how we do.
yeah,
And if we can do all right,
yeah.
probably he'll have better luck
Yeah.
in other states. We're like, it's like a Republican trying to do some work in California. Like it's tricky right now.
But let's actually try to influence this
Yeah,
locally.
I mean,
if we can.
we're in the Republican California because Texas is almost blue. So we're in the Republican California right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Republican California. Yeah,
So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's sunshine here. It's sunshine,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
for
It's,
sure.
It's our,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
their California.
for sure. We're like way south. We're like the deepest south there is.
So we need to. So we'll be the guinea pigs for people. We'll contact campaigns. We'll try to get somebody on. I would love to try to get one of these politicians on.
Yeah,
That would be incredible.
It would be great just to have them talk us through what it's like to campaign, and kind of what the process is like. And we already
love
know
it.
what the positions are going to be. So that's we're going to see if we can cut through a lot of that and understand on a deeper level what's going on. This should be really exciting. We'll see.
I would really love to see something happen. So we're gonna.
So it's up to you now to sign us off for what we'll call episode number 1
Of the United Front.
Wink number 1
Well, you know what it is. The United.
of the United Front show
Yeah. So
with Max Kuhn,
I'm gonna
starring
Max Kuhn. Who are you?
David Benjamin.
David Benjamin. Okay. Are your socials going up again?
No.
I'm gonna end it off with subscribe, like, follow the socials. You know how it is.
Yes.
I'm on Twitter.
I'm a
He reads books and he lives in a bunker.
yep.
He's a hermit.
I have a landline. I wear very, very wide shoes.
He watches Fox News and
so
yeah, he yells at his TV a lot and
you won't find me.
he
on
can't
social.
hear well and
But you can find me through
me.
you.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get you something set up.